Good afternoon. I'm Ted Williams. Was a knife.
Was a knife.
4 University of Idaho students killed at an off-campus home over the weekend. Moscow police say 20-year-old Ethan Chapin of Conway, Washington, 21-year-old Madison Mogan of Coeur d'Alene, 20-year-old Xana Kernodle of Avondale, Arizona, and 21-year-old Kaylee Goncalves of Rathdrum, Idaho were found dead yesterday around noon.
All right, what if I told you guys that October 25th, 2022, a student by the name of Alexander Serrell would feel some type of way against his professor. I'll tell you all about his professor. You guys can check it out. It's actually part of the thumbnail. So what if I told you, though, that you guys remember the TikTok star, if you want to call her that came out and said that there was a professor that was being blamed for the homicides. What if I told you that that was not, first of all, the only professor that was ever blamed, or you could say a tip made about them, or you could say videos made about them. But there was actually somebody before that. Klaus Udewikawa, Udekwu, Francis the First, Klaus, Klas, a professor at the University of Idaho. I'm going to tell you all about this. But what was going on that, that was just a TikToker that she had some feels and it her in her cards or whatever. But how about that there's actually a student out there at the University of Idaho who called the police, gave in two tips, and then wanted to call back 2 years later, just like as in like a couple days ago, October 9th, to say, hey, I called to continue to report that speaking as this guy, that this kid believed his forensics professor perpetuated the University of Idaho murders. Again, this was just reported on October 9th at 11:02 p.m. Alexander Serrell called to continue to report he believed his forensics professor perpetuated the UI murders. Serrell did not have any incriminating information and continued to reiterate the same information given on several prior occasions. The quote-unquote prior information was in the form of a USB, like a USB drive, given to Moscow Police Department, which detailed his professor's forensic class slides. From the conversation, it was very apparent Serrell and his professor did not get along. And then they go on to redact the next couple sentences. Now, they went as far as to redact not only just those couple sentences, but they felt the need not to turn over in a FOIA request any of the phone calls that pertained to the officer and Alex Serrell speaking to each other. Okay, now check this out. This kid would end up getting, first of all, arrested. All right. He gets arrested before we put this FOIA request in. Then after we put this FOIA request in, which was on 10/21/2024, so 2 years would basically pass. And then here on 10/9/2024, he calls and he complains about his professor. We're going to hear all these calls. And then on 10/14/2024, it's listing something as a threatening interaction. So 10/9, 10/14, And then on 10/15, the professor does a public, it's a PRR. It's like a FOIA request. But the professor somehow is notified, and then the professor does a PRR to get this information. Okay. And then here we come and we do, thanks to our girl, Noah lately. We're always looking for some interesting FOIA requests to see what the heck's going on. We put one in on 10/21. So again, back October of 2022, before the murders. Okay, October 25th. You guys are going to hear it in the audio. This gentleman, Alex Serrell, makes multiple statements talking about his professor is basically responsible for the Idaho4 murders. Okay, he calls in 2 tips during the course of after the murders. Then 2 years would go by. 2 years would go by. And all of a sudden, there's a couple things that happened. But the first thing that happened was on 10/9/2024. And I'm going to play a couple of these calls. Okay. Now, in order for you guys to hear them, I have to do it like this. All right, here we go. Oh, that's the second call. Hold on, I'm going to play the first call first. Hold on one second. We'll start with... Okay, so... All right, so do me a favor and turn up your volume, and then you'll be able to hear this as best as possible. This is the radio traffic.
Moscow 88, I'll take the civil after I clear the stop. Moscow 88. Written warning, unknown male. Any who's coming to the civil. Moscow 88 station. 22.
Okay, first of all, I have no idea why they're saying unknown male. Okay. He most certainly is known. Okay, he has a name, Alex Serrell. They know that that's his name. So this whole unknown male thing, very interesting to me. All right. Again, you can listen to it right here again.
Unknown male. Any who's coming to the civil.
And then right there, it's going to be changed to a civil. Okay. Now, I am curious to know if Alex Serrell and if this professor was actually suing him, okay? Because it really quickly went from being labeled, an incident to all of a sudden it's being pushed into the category of a civil case. It's a civil dispute. It's something civil. It'd be like, if you have a civil protection order against somebody, you have to handle that in court. So this is the airwaves.
Moscow 88 station. 22. Moscow 88. Good.
And now Moscow 188 is J. Laney, Lanie, officer with the Moscow Police Department.
23.
188 Moscow.
That's him.
The civil call at U of I is reopened. Your RP wanted to speak with you again.
Right there, RP wanted to speak with you again. Now, that is reporting party, and that would be Alex Serrell. Moscow Police Department has refused, as of right now, to turn over the 2 phone calls between Alex Serrell and this police officer. And there's no reason for it. So we're going to put a new FOIA in. Right there, you hear it. If you're still on the phone with him, can you transfer him to my cell? Your cell phone is part of this, and you're supposed to put on your dash cam or your body cam when you're making these type of phone calls to record this. And we ask for all body cam and dash cam. Negative. And then they just hurry up and cut it. Because the dispatch woman ran him off the line, as you will see. And then he says, I'll give him a call. So we know there's these calls. There's at least 2.
20. Go ahead. 22.
Okay. Now we're going to hear the call into the station. Okay. So here you go. This is call number 1.
Police and fire dispatch.
Oh, this is fire dispatch. I'm trying to get non-emergency number. Try to get
Okay.
This is police and fire.
reach out to me.
This is really important. He says it right here off the bat. He is trying to reach non-emergency. I need you guys to understand this because what I'm about to show you guys is going to blow your mind. Okay. So this is the first call.
Police and fire dispatch.
Oh, this is fire dispatch. I'm trying to get non-emergency number. Try to get
This is
reach
police and fire.
out to me.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is Alex Serrell. I want an officer to reach out to me. I have a Google Doc with hyperlinks and just format and stuff. I want the school. I don't know. I wanted to talk. The county told me I called the crisis center first to the county. They said, "Oh, we're not going to talk about the professor of the school." That caused me terrible grief.
Okay. So he is trying to reach the non-emergency line. Then she says, yeah, this is fire and rescue. Okay. Then he says that he has a Google Docs hyperlinks. Okay. That's what he has. He has like information that's what it's on. He says that he tried to call the crisis center line. Okay. And as soon as he wanted to talk about a professor at the University of Idaho, they weren't going to listen to him. They weren't going to let him talk about this professor. Okay. Now we'll continue.
I call Clinton County and they say, "Where's the crime occur?" And so I say,
All right,
"Okay,
one
well,
second.
you guys have a citation,
One
a
second.
suspicious
Can you
person
tell
report."
me exactly?
You guys have a citation for a suspicious person report. We're looking into that.
What you're reporting so I can get that information to the officer? I just need a brief description for now.
Hold on. Yeah. I have, hold on, let me load up the Google Doc.
Okay.
An officer gave me this information. I think it's like a ticket number, a report. You know, it ain't even, this is all.
So is this something that you have already reported?
No, I'm scrolling. It's 150 as I'm scrolling as fast as I can. It's 24-02117. My name is Serrell. I'm actually with the University of Idaho.
Okay, now hold on.
Theory teacher, confident.
Now, as you can see, I want you guys to take a look at my screen. And as you guys can see, this incident number is 24M07956. Okay. So there's a different one, 02117. So we're working on getting that. Fire and rescue is the same. It's dispatch. It's non-emergency. That's how they do it. Because it's hard to hear, that's why I'm stopping it and I'm trying to then tell you guys what's being said.
117. My name is Serrell. I'm actually with the University of Idaho. Student teacher confident.
Student teacher confident. You guys hear that?
It's that. And in the document, okay.
So this is something you've
already the public knows about.
This is something you've already talked to an officer about and made a police report, correct?
No, I never was able to make a police report. But it's very difficult for me to call myself a victim in this situation because that's and it's sick. It's sick what this monster has done.
Can I just interrupt for a second? What exactly happened?
He calls him the Zodiac Killer or something. He's like, it is sick what this monster has done. He's like the Zodiac Killer or something. Okay.
To you that you were wanting to report today.
On the 25th of October, 2022, is when he made his emotional attack
Okay, listen. October 25th, 2022. This is when he makes his emotional. I think he says the word attack, but I'm just gonna let you guys hear it here.
On the 25th of October, 2022, is when he made his emotional attack that has ever since, shortly after the 13th clicked in my head.
Shortly after the 13th, okay, meaning November 13th, that's the day of the murders. So October 25th, he's saying that this professor emotionally, I don't fucking know what, but something happened on the 25th of October. Then the murders obviously happened on the 13th of November, and so this is where he's at now.
That thing clicked in my head at 5:30 when he elected. He was the one that said that there were 4 homicides.
At 5:30, he said that there were 4 homicides at 5:30. Okay, and I'm assuming he's talking about 11:13 at 5:30. I mean, I'm guessing p.m., but is he talking about a.m.? I mean, I don't fucking know. But 5:30 p.m., he's talking about the homicides.
Okay,
At 5.
I don't know what this police report is in regards to. I don't know what you're talking about. So is there something that specifically happened to you right now that you want to report?
I believe it is categorized under scheme. It sounds silly because when I think of cheating, I think of the average person when she thinks of the
So what happened?
The person greatly hurt me, and any dad and mom.
Okay, so how did the person hurt you?
I rally a strong amount of support.
Okay, how did the person hurt you?
So, I have the timestamp and everything, but he said, I sent your email. I sent your exam, and he's talking directly to me. 15 seconds later, I don't want to fight you to what later. And his pitch and voice matches. So when he talks to the class in his lecture, but when he deviates and he says things like, what happened. Hearing that from me right now, it doesn't make sense without context.
Okay, so can you please give me your
He
first and last
said
name?
to me, I don't want to frighten you to what had. And right after saying that terrible thing last week, that's what it was. It was a terrible thing last week. So right after.
Okay, I understand. I need your first and last name so I can give it to an officer. Can I have your first and last name?
Alexander Serrell.
Your first
Alexander
name?
Serrell. And those were the first two tips. Yeah, one of the tips in that Moscow case those two things were it. Two things. Yeah,
Okay.
Alexander Serrell. He did. He literally did.
Is your last name Serrell, starting with an S as in Sam?
Yeah.
He's saying he gave 2 tips. The first 2 tips he gave was after the 11:13. How many times is she gonna ask him what his name is?
Serrell.
Okay, what's your phone number?
It's redacted.
Is it? I don't think it's completed in memory of the new one. Is that the one showing on the caller ID?
Let me check. Yeah, so I will get this information over to an officer and I will have him call you, okay?
I love their helping because
Yeah, so
it's no longer me trying to make the school look like shit, even though the school does look like shit. And it's
sir, I've
not
entered
trying
the call.
to look like
I've
shit.
entered.
This is no longer about me trying to make the school look like shit. The school is shit. The school looks like shit. That's what he just said. It's not about me, no longer about me trying to make the school look like shit. The school is shit. The school looks like shit. Whatever.
Call and I'm gonna get it over
Yeah,
to an
it's all
officer.
good.
I'm gonna have them call you, okay? Okay. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Okay. So then there's going to be another call here because he calls back. All right. Now, again, this is really, really important to understand, guys, because then I'm going to show you guys a police report. And I'm going to show you guys the history that has happened with this young man in the month of October of 2024. So let me play you the next call. Okay. So then he does second call.
Police and fire.
All right. Cool. I had called a while ago. My name is Alexander Serrell. I had to talk with an officer of Moscow, Lake County. I am a resident of Kootenai. I tried initially and then the department.
All right, he says, I need to talk to an officer in Moscow. I am a resident of Kootenai County. Okay, but I need to talk to an officer in Moscow.
I'm just calling you guys because the question of a crime that occurred has come up. And yes, if you go into that, because that's a dicey topic, I told you
Did the
guys.
officer contact you?
The officer, you guys told me to go public. I called the FBI to get the FBI.
I called the FBI. He called the FBI. He told me to go public. I called the FBI.
Can you hear me?
So,
Hello?
yeah.
Hi. Did an officer contact you earlier when you called in?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you want to talk to them again?
I called. Yeah.
Okay. I'll reopen your case. I'll have someone give you a phone call, okay?
Reopen it. Please do.
Okay, thank you.
Important police are above the school.
Okay, she cuts it off. They cut it off there. Listen to what they say there then. The police think that they are above the school. Something like, listen to this end right here. They cut it off.
Okay, thank you.
Important police are above the school.
the police. He's calling the police. Now, check this out. Okay, hold on. Now, we looked up Alex because I wanted to see if he wanted to come on the show. Why wouldn't I? And so, let's see. Alex. Okay. Let me just send this. Oh, get the fuck up out of here. Okay, so on 10/15. So again, this is really important, these dates. So on 10/9, this all happens on 10/9. Then check this out. 10/9, this happens. And then on 10/15, the professor does a PRR. It's a request, like a FOIA request, same thing. But also on 10/15, the same day that the, let's see what time it was. Fuckers. I'm gonna have to request what time that was at. So on 10/15, at some point, two things happen, and this is wild. I'm going to go over here to Hector so you guys can see it. Come on out here, Hector. What do you got for me? All right. Now, look at this date. Okay. At 7:50, there's an alleged robbery and aggravated assault with deadly weapon. Okay. Look at this. 10:15. The same damn day. So this would be allegedly. So 10/9 is the calls, MPD calls. Okay. 10/9. Then on 10/15, they arrest him for, this is alleged, robbery and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Okay. But also on that day, the professor does a FOIA request and asks for this report that I have right now. And that's the same day that there's this alleged he gets picked up for a robbery and aggravated assault. Okay. Then fucking A. Then we do a FOIA for this on 10/21. That's our FOIA. Okay. 10/21 is our FOIA. Then all of a sudden they say that on 10/23, Moscow Police Department or somebody, see this right here? They are saying that on 10/23/2024, 2 days after we asked for this FOIA, that he is charged with abuse of 911. $20,000 bond for that, $100,000 bond for this shit. Okay. How would the professor know to even get a FOIA? Exactly. But on the same day that he gets that FOIA, he's picked up for robbery and aggravated assault in Kootenai County. Arresting agency, Kootenai County Sheriff's. Now, don't know when this could have been. This is just the arrest date, but it could have happened, you know, that's just the arrest date. Okay. Look at that. But the MPD calls were on 10/9/2024. All right. So then 10/9, and then this professor puts in on 10/15, he puts in a FOIA for this to get this. The same day that the professor puts in the FOIA request is the same day that Alex Serrell is arrested for robbery and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Then I said to myself, well, what the fuck? Who posted his bond, bail, something, because, or you're just adding like arresting. Then CUNY County Sheriff's Office, arresting agencies, arrest date, 10/23. So he gets out. And then they, 2 days after we do the FOIA, it is for a completely different, what's this second incident number again? Totally different number. Abusive 911. Now, yeah, we're working on getting all of this, but bottom line is that he wasn't trying to call 911. He straight up said that he was calling and asking for the non-emergency line. So I really want to hear this abuse of the 911 call. Okay. But this is the CUNY County Sheriff's Office that did this arrest and that also did this arrest. And I just think it's very, and then this, where the arrest happened, you guys, he was arrested at home. That's where he lives. Hardy Creek Road, that's where he lives with his parents. So this whole robbery and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, it wasn't like he was caught in the act unless he was robbing his parents. Okay, unless his parents. But we're looking at this whole thing, but look at this time. See that? Now you want to hear something crazy? 11:03. Guess what time this all shit fucking happened? Same thing. (11:02 and 57 seconds). When this guy finished his report, this was 10/9. But when this guy put his report in, it was 11:02 p.m. He was arrested at 11:03 p.m. on 10/15. So think about this. Just saying. I bet you this FOIA request went in way before 11 p.m. by the professor. And on the same day that he puts in a FOIA request that the professor does, this kid gets picked up for robbery and aggravated assault. Then they arrest him on the 23rd for abusive 911. And this is about a guy that is calling to talk about making comments about the police and making comments about professors. And Alexander Serrell called to continue to report he believed his forensics professor perpetuated the University of Idaho murders. Serrell did not have any incriminating information and continued. Now, when you say he didn't have any incriminating information, by whose standards? You guys? Moscow Police Department? Nah, I want to take a look at that. We'll take that whole Google Drive. I want to get Alex's Google Drive. hey, I'm interested in what you have. Let's take a look at this. Okay. Again, I have a couple questions, which is how did the professor know to get that FOIA? Okay. And on the same day that he asked for that FOIA, that same day he's arrested at his parents' home. Okay, I thought you meant pick this guy. The picture of the professor is the thumbnail. And I have no problem. It's public information. And how I was able to put 2 and 2 together on who the fucking person was, okay, is because the guy put his name down, Francis 1 Kloss. If you type in that name, he's a professor at the University of Idaho. That's how I did it. God, they're fucking clowns, man. It's unreal.
Time in Moscow. Moscow police said the 4 found are homicide victims. The University of Idaho has canceled classes today out of respect for the students.
We understand the public's frustration about not being provided a lot of information. We are working to the best of our ability to actually provide as much as possible. We intend to come out and solicit information from the public if they are within certain areas that we believe are of interest for this investigation.
Why you believe they are targeted killings, and do you know who, if any, of the victims were the actual targets of the killings?
We understand the public's frustration about not being provided a lot of information. We are working to the...
All right. And to close out tonight's episode, we are going to take a look at, and there's no way that we cannot not look at it, is a gruesome murder in Kootenai County. Let's go like this. We're going to take a look at, there was a man that was what people thought he was attacked by a bear. And it wasn't a bear. Okay. And it was knives, like gouges, like basically how I believe the coroner and the families of the 4 slain students have more or less described wounds that these 4 have suffered.
The best of our ability to actually provide as much as possible. We intend to come out and solicit information.
What are the odds of that white card being there? It's a trial. What happened at 1122 King? I don't know. Hopefully the truth comes out, whatever did happen, because that's how we make sure that nothing continues. But let's talk about this, and I will close it out. Here we go. Again, do me a favor, thumbs it up, share this video. You never know who could possibly see it. And I just, from my understanding with this kid, he clearly needs some help. Maybe he's slow. I don't know what's going on, but I didn't get the feeling that he was abusing 911. I think he was, at least if they're trying to say that these are the calls and they're trying to use the calls at Moscow to say that. I just want to make sure that whoever is representing this young man has these calls, because he was 100% trying to get the non-emergency line, and he also tried to call the crisis center, and nobody wanted to listen to him because he wanted to talk about the police and he wanted to talk about a professor. And I think it'd be very simple to see if he had called in the past, and this would be a discovery violation. If they didn't turn this information over to Ann Taylor and company, this is a discovery violation. So this should be in the tips. This should be, this is discoverable. So, I mean, somebody's calling and I just feel like it's being suppressed. Okay, this would be a discovery violation. So if it wasn't turned over, it could also be a possible Brady violation if it's exculpatory. If it favors Brian Koberger, if it favors the defendant, and you didn't turn it over. But let's take a look. That's generally alarming for Moscow to claim he was abusing 911, especially in the wake of a quad homicide. It really makes you think twice about calling for help when you need it, hence DF and BF. I think this is absolutely wild. I wanted to put this out here because the more people know about something, then they can do some digging on their own. But this is crazy. Here we go. This was the press conference, so I think it's best to just stick with that. Yeah, so like the video, share it. He thought his friend was a victim of a bear attack. Police now say it wasn't, so here we go. And this was in Gallatin County.
Sound check. Dan Springer, Gallatin County Sheriff's Office.
Okay, I have it on 1.5, just so you guys know. He doesn't talk this fast.
All right. Hello. Thank you all for attending. My name is Dan Springer. I'm the Gallatin County Sheriff. With me today, I have our investigations captain, Nate Kammerman. He heads our investigative division, which is made and supervises some of the finest, most hardworking detectives that I know. And what happened here and also today is Jillian Price. Jillian is the sister of our victim, Dustin Jerson. On October 12th, the Sheriff's Office received a report of a male found deceased in his wall tent approximately 2.5 miles up Moose Creek. The male has been identified as 35-year-old Dustin Jerson of the Belgrade-Bozeman area. This is a homicide, and we are working all hours of the day and night to find his killer. Jillian described Dustin as a caring, hardworking, and loving brother. He was brutally killed at his campsite, and we need your help. I'm going to turn this over to Captain Kammerman so he can describe to you what it is that we need from you. Captain Kammerman.
Good afternoon. We put together several facts for you to hopefully help the community narrow down exactly what we're looking for, as well as jostle any memories out there of anyone that may be up there and encourage people to come forward with information. Dustin was last seen in the afternoon hours of Thursday, October 10, 2024. He was leaving to go camping up Moose Creek in his black 2013 Ford F-250 with a black topper and an aluminum silver ladder rack. He was well prepared for a weekend of camping and had plans to meet with a friend on Friday afternoon.
Wait, what? A black what? That's the same vehicle that's on the Linda Lane, if I'm not mistaken.
In his black 2013 Ford F-250 with a black topper and an aluminum silver ladder rack. He was well prepared for a weekend of camping and had plans to meet with a friend on Friday afternoon, but he never made that meeting. He was located deceased in his tent shortly after 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning. Autopsy has shown that he sustained multiple chop wounds, quote, which led to his death. We're following up on leads, but we have no arrest at this time. We're asking the community members to help us in this way. What we need from you is anyone who was present in the area between the evening hours of Thursday, October 10, and the early morning hours of Saturday, October 12 to reach out to us. That's up Moose Creek. Anyone with trail or game cameras in the Moose Creek area, please reach forward, even if the footage seems irrelevant. Anyone with in-car cameras traveling in the Moose Creek area during this time frame, please reach out to us. Anyone who saw the victim's truck, as a picture will be provided both on our Facebook site as well as I believe it's been provided to media. Anyone that's seen that truck during the time frame mentioned, please come forward to us. And anyone who saw something out of place, out of the ordinary in the areas surrounding Moose Creek, think of the whole canyon. If you saw something weird in the canyon area or in town with his truck, please reach out to us. That time frame again is between the evening hours of Thursday, October 10, and early morning hours of Saturday, October 12. Thank you for everyone who has already reached out with information. We've been given multiple leads, and we are working to close those leads and find what direction they take us. My folks are working around the clock And again, as the sheriff said, we need your help on this. Anything you can bring to us will be greatly appreciated and may make a huge difference on what we find here. Thank you.
So we want you to better understand who Dustin was. And so to do that, Jillian Price, his sister, would like to say a few things.
This weekend, we lost our brother, our son, our uncle, our best friends, and our dad in the most unimaginable way. Dustin was a great kid. He was born here in Bozeman, and he worked all over the valley. He could have framed your house. He could have poured your foundation. He could have installed your countertops. He was a hardworking, skilled tradesman. He was a loving, helpful, and adoring father who in no way deserved this. I ask our community to please help us find out who did this. There is someone in our valley that is capable of truly heinous things. Please, if you are in Moose Creek at any time from Thursday to Saturday, please call and talk, even if you think you didn't see anything.
So we do not have anyone in custody at this time. People have asked me if there's a threat to this community, and the answer is we don't know. We don't have enough information to know at this time, but we do know that someone was out there who killed someone in a very heinous way. So if you're out in the woods, I need you to be paying attention. You need to remain vigilant. If you see anything suspicious, please just call us. We will take a look. No information is too small. If there's something, please call us. And at this time, we will take some questions. I will take some questions.
Do you have any idea what the weapon is then?
We don't have an exact idea what the weapon is, but we do know that it was something hard enough to cause significant damage to the skull, as well as some fleshy areas of the body.
Is it known when this might have happened?
So we had contact with him Thursday afternoon, not we, but the family. We know that he was in contact with people on Thursday afternoon. He drove up into the cane. As most of you know, there's limited service up there to no service. And so his time frame of missing was from that Thursday afternoon into Saturday morning about 10 a.m. when he was found deceased. So what time exactly he was killed, we don't have that yet.
Who found him?
I was wondering if you could describe the area of the campsite, just what's around there.
Yeah, so it's not an official campsite. It's kind of your standard Forest Service area where people make their own campsites, but then it becomes kind of an established one. He had a wall tent, probably 8 by 10, 10 by 10, somewhere in that neighborhood. It was very well kept. He had lots of equipment up there with him. He had been planning to kind of spend a weekend with a friend up there and had set it all up prior to them getting there. And so there's a lot of hunters up in that area. There are some outfitters. There are people that are just living up there or camping. So there is a lot of activity, even though it's fairly remote.
Is there any information on who found him?
Information on who found him. So the friend that he was going to pick up was missing. Obviously, he did not show up. So they went looking for him, and the friend's the one who found him.
Wait. Hold on.
Are there any elements of this case that may make it harder or easier to solve than other cases?
No. Hold on. He was supposed to pick him up. Hold on.
Who found him?
He's reserved to talk about it. That was a heavy sigh. Let me see the last question when he was asked.
He had
The area of the campsite, just what's around there.
Yeah, so it's not an official campsite.
See how he just like went right into it?
Just what's around there.
Yeah, so it's not an official campsite. It's kind of your standard Forest Service area where people make their own campsites, but then it becomes kind of an established one. He had
How would somebody know where he was if it wasn't an established campsite?
wall tent, probably 8 by 10, 10 by 10, somewhere in that neighborhood. It was very well kept. He had lots of equipment up there with him. He had been planning to kind of spend a weekend with a friend up there and had set it all up prior to them getting there. And so there's a lot of hunters up in that area. There are some outfitters. There are people that are just living up there.
So he gets there on a Thursday, sets up all of his tent stuff, for a friend that doesn't come until Saturday. Thursday afternoon.
Up there or camping. So there is a lot of activity, even though it's fairly remote.
Is there any information on who found him?
Information on who found him. So the friend that he was going to pick up was.
See, the friend that he was going to pick up. The friend that he was going to pick up. So he didn't pick him up. So why didn't he pick him up?
Was missing. Obviously, he did not show up, so they went looking for him, and the friend's the one who found him.
You guys, that doesn't make any sense. He becomes missing because, well, he didn't come pick me up, so I'm gonna go looking for him. But you know exactly where to go. So is this a place that he always goes camping? And like, there's a specific area that these two always do this. Well, I'm just gonna go where we were supposed to go, even though he was supposed to pick me up. Then, if he was supposed to pick you up, that means on Thursday, you're supposed to get picked up. Or he just went out there earlier and he was supposed to pick you up on Saturday, but he's like, fuck this, I'm just going to go earlier, and just doesn't tell you. But then knows that he knows that you know where he's at, so you could just like come out there. If I didn't come pick you up, it means I don't want you to come with me. That makes no sense, guys.
Information on who found him. So the friend that he was going to pick up was missing. Obviously, he did not show up, so they went looking for him, and the friend's the one who found him.
Are there any elements of this case that may make it harder or easier to solve than other homicides?
Yeah. So the question is, are there elements of this case that makes it harder to solve? I'm repeating the questions because the microphone right here doesn't pick up your questions. So. Yes, honestly, given the location where there is limited service, cell phones and those kind of things, which are typically a lot of help for us, may not have the same answer. So a very remote area is difficult, as well as time. There was a number of maybe hours to days from the time he might have been killed to the time that it was reported. So anytime we have a lag, it can make a case more difficult.
Well, your autopsy.
Yeah, thank you. So the question is, where do you go to if you have information? If it's during the business hours, please call 406-582-2121. You can also leave a message there if it's not immediate. If it's something that needs immediate attention, please call 406-582-2100. Option number 1, and that'll get you to dispatch, who will then get you to a deputy, and you can tell them that what this is about, and they'll get the information if that's something that needs attention right away. That would be kind of the non-business hours, if you know, or you can leave a message at the one for business hours. Thank you.
What would you say to someone that might think that their information isn't very helpful, if there's something about it?
Yeah, so think of this as a large jigsaw puzzle, okay? And it's going to take multiple. So what's the question is, what do I tell somebody if they don't think the information they have is a worthwhile or not big enough? The answer to that is it's like a big jigsaw puzzle when you're working on these cases. We will get little pieces here and there, and eventually that creates a big, large picture that makes some sense. So if you have a little piece of that puzzle, anyone that's ever done a jigsaw puzzle, if you can't find that one little piece, someone knows where it is, someone has some information. If you think it's important, even if you don't think it's important, let us know and let us deem if it's important or not. But it might be that little piece that kind of puts the big picture together for us. Thank you all for being here. I'm sorry, was there another one? Okay. Thank you all for being here.
What horrible questions.
Thank you, Jillian. And you know, the sheriff's office is dedicated to finding out what's going on here.
This is why shit doesn't get solved. Horrible questions.
Please reach out to us if you have anything. So thank you for your time.
Like, okay, what would help here is, okay, where was he coming from, his home? Like, maybe people can look at some Ring camera footage in the area of the path that he would have traveled to go there. I mean, come on. I just can't fuck with stupid. Stop sending like your C teams out to fucking press conferences. Pisses me off. Rant over. Okay. So yeah, there's that. Horrible. Horrible. So Cooney County Jail current inmate list with pending bonds. Current as of 10/24 at 3 p.m. That means that on 10/24, homie was in jail. Homie was in jail. So, talking about Alex Serrell. And the reason that this, you know, we've been just keeping our eye on the Moscow Police Department. You never know. So it was. With more information, we'll put it out there. But any questions? I'll open it up. I'll open it up for questions. I'll open it up for questions. God damn. It's 321 miles from Moscow. Yeah. Holly Berry says, I think he has been there since the 15th. I have to answer your question. I have it as I don't know what you mean by that. Oh, you're talking about him being in jail? You're talking about him being in jail? I don't know about that either. Let's see. Yeah, possibly. Which would make sense, actually. Holly, the reason that I believe that he's also been there since the 15th, it makes sense. But I believe that they charged him with this abuse of 911, and I think that's from the day in question, like what we have, like the FOIA that we have, which I don't think he should be getting anything like that. He was straight up asking. Okay, let me put it this way. Where are all these, if you're calling 911, where are all these calls at? There should be multiple calls. And if this was an open and active investigation, why am I getting any of this shit? They ruled bears out. Bears are out. Yes, I did. And I just said it. So hopefully that's what, yeah, like yeah. Bear was ruled out. Yes. How could his friend even think it was a bear attack when looking at the body? Injuries from a bear and those caused by something like an axe different. Yeah, crazy. I want the USBs too. I want the Google. I want the Google link. So I'm gonna try to contact him on an iPad in jail. Where in Montana are they talking about? Bosman. Melissa says he had a preliminary hearing on the 10/12. Let's get some transcripts on that preliminary hearing. That's really not that confusing, but I don't know. There's a guy that called the tip line into Moscow Police Department back 2 years ago when the student murders happened. And then 2 years later, he just re-up and calls, and he is alleging that this professor had something to do with the murders. But this has all stayed under wraps, you guys. How does this stay under wraps? How did this stay under wraps for all this time? That's because they were pulling those updates. I lived in Montana. Yeah. Yeah. We're on the same page, Holly. We got you. Gail was good. Thank you, Lana, for always working your ass off for us. Yeah, sorry I couldn't cover Sarah Boone. I was doing other things that mattered more than Sarah Boone. Record time 1 hour and 29 minutes with dinner to be convicted of murder. I'd go bench trial. I wouldn't be like, fuck these assholes. I just think that's really quick. Nothing to see here. We already made up our mind. Bows. There's some hoes in this house. What else? I think it's weird that if somebody was trying to pick me up because we're supposed to go camping, if he was supposed to pick me up on Thursday, I wait all day Thursday. He's not there. I would have been calling his phone, right? Then Friday, but okay, now on Saturday, I'm going to go out and go to where we're supposed to go. I don't know. It seems that the aggravated assault were on the professor, and that's why he got the FOIA. There was robbery. So I'm curious, did he rob the professor? There was robbery and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. I mean, but your hands could be a deadly weapon, right? What else? Let me go back down here. I thought they were supposed to pick up the friends on Friday. They said, well, he left Thursday. According to this press conference. Dustin owned his own construction company. Like, oh, did I just miss it? Are the jury deliberating over the weekend in the big case? No, it's over. They deliberated for 1 hour and 29 minutes, something like that. And they did it over dinner as well. Dustin seems like he was a brother, father, son, uncle. Dustin owned his own construction company, like Steve, that was taken out June 13th, 2021. Let me look him up. We'll take a peek at that there really quick. What was that name? Fuck. Steve. The cold case. The following story features interviews with children of Stephen Kilwin. Due to the recentness of the crime, MTN nor the family were granted access to the case files regarding Stephen. What you are about to see is told from the perspective of the family. Not suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Well, thank you.
My dad was murdered on June 13th of 2021. Somebody made the choice that I no longer get to have my father. My son no longer has his grandfather.
The news is just something you just never, ever, ever expect to hear, much less for your 79-year-old father who,
79?
was not involved in anything. bad in any way, shape, or form.
How are you killing 79-year-old
As far as we
people?
can tell, this happened at 11:20, according to the death certificate, on a Sunday. He lives next door to a church. Church was going on. People were walking. He lives in a historic part of downtown Bozeman. It's busy.
I flew up here. My brother flew up here. The front door was busted in. The door to the bedroom was busted. Was there a lot of blood when you
Yes,
came in?
yes. Including they tracked it around a bit. And
We don't know the murder weapon. We didn't know what caused his death until we got the death certificate, which noted multiple chop type wounds.
the death certificate says chopping. You can chop with a lot of things. Cleaver, axe, hatchet. Oh my God, there's so many hammers here. In fact, I mean, there's a hammer right here that has you know, you could chop somebody with this. I mean, there's just so many things like that laying around here because it's construction.
We knew nothing during the time of the funeral, and we were told to bring a hat to make sure he had clothes that went up to his neck. But it made us think there was something here, maybe his chest.
And they were concerned at one point that we would not be able to have an open casket.
Was it robbery? I don't know. If it was, maybe it didn't go the way they wanted it to. He just sold a Suburban for like $2,400 cash. It was in his wallet, you know, sitting in his bedroom. So if somebody really was robbing him, you think $2,400 cash would be, you know, in a wallet full of credit cards, would have been a pretty good, tempting prize.
As far as we know, there was nothing missing.
He was remodeling, so there was construction tools. His wallet was not taken.
The detectives have been fantastic. Everybody was just working. Everybody was working many, many hours.
They are diligently working on it, and they are trying.
We don't know the details,
but the detectives do. Yeah. They know a lot more than they can share with us because it's an ongoing investigation. They reassured us that there's still, evidence out there being processed.
We're not publicizing his murder. You know, we're trying to solve his murder. But how do you do that? There are a lot of situations you can improve by throwing money at them. There's a $100,000 reward sitting in a Wells Fargo checking account. I'll write the check tomorrow. Just tell us who did this thing.
If you know anything, I would beg that you come forth. My dad talked about how he wanted to walk Holden to kindergarten. And that will never happen. He wasn't there to see my son start school. My son still cries. And my son doesn't know that Grandpa was murdered. It just knows that he's gone.
How do you? If you're watching this, I don't know how you could have taken our dad from us. I mean, he was so active for a 79-year-old man. He was so loved. He was so caring.
How dare you take him from us? How dare you? This is the man who sat for hours watching our children play sports and do musicals and graduate from middle schools and elementary schools and high schools and colleges. Our younger brother just had twins who will never know their grandfather.
I mean, you don't want to make everybody panicked, but there's somebody out there right now who did that, and they're probably still in Bozeman. And I don't know, is it the guy in front of you at the grocery store? I don't know.
This is now a cold case. It's been more than a year. In Bozeman, there's only been one other cold case, and that was the Pizza Hut murder of 1985. We need all the help we can. I mean, this should not happen to anyone. No one should lose their father this way. No one has been brought to justice for this, and we just want anyone out there to help us.
His sense of humor and his love of life, he gave that to all of his kids. Like, we laugh so much, And I have to say, since June 13th, that laughter has certainly, it's been extinguished a bit.
Is that his house on the corner like that? It's very risky.
He gave that to all of his kids. Like, we laugh so much, And I have to say, since June 13th, that.
Is that a school?
we laugh so much, you know. And I have to say, since June 13th, that laughter has certainly it's been extinguished a bit.
His family is offering a $100,000 reward for information resulting in the arrest and conviction of the offender. Sorry, I have to listen to it one more time.
Of 2021, somebody made the choice that I no longer get to have my father.
So right after
My son no longer has his grandfather.
The news is just something you just never, ever, ever expect to hear, much less for your 79-year-old father who, you know, was not involved in anything bad in any way, shape, or form.
As far as we can tell, this happened at 11:20, according to the death certificate, on a Sunday. He lives next door to a church. Church was going on. People were walking. He lives in a historic part of downtown Bozeman. It's busy.
I flew up here, my brother flew up here. The front door was busted in. The door to the bedroom was busted. Was there a lot of blood when you came in? Yes. Including they tracked it around a bit. And
wow, so he was in his bedroom?
We don't know the murder weapon. We didn't know what caused his death until we got the death certificate, which noted multiple chop-type wounds.
the death certificate says chopping. You can chop.
$11 military? Time of injury. So if 11 military is that... Veteran of Armed Forces. Fucking A.
Chop with a lot of things. Cleaver, axe, hatchet. Oh my God, there's so many hammers here. In fact, I mean, there's a hammer right here that has you know, you could chop somebody with this. I mean, there's just so many things like that laying around here because it's construction.
We knew nothing during the time of the funeral, and we were told to bring a hat to make sure he had clothes that went up to his neck. But it made us think there was something here, maybe his chest.
And they were concerned at one point that we would not be able to have an open casket.
Why do they think it was at 11?
Was it robbery? I don't know. If it was, maybe it didn't go the way they wanted it to. He just sold a Suburban for like $2,400 cash. It was in his wallet, you know, sitting in his bedroom. So if somebody really was robbing him, you think $2,400 cash would be, in a wallet full of credit cards, would have been a pretty good, tempting prize.
As far as we know, there was nothing missing.
He was remodeling, so there was construction tools. His wallet was not taken.
The detectives have been fantastic. Everybody was just working. Everybody was working many, many hours.
They are diligently working on it, and they are trying.
We don't know the details,
but the detectives do. Yeah. They know a lot more than they can share with us because it's an ongoing investigation. They reassured us that there's still, evidence out there being processed.
We're not publicizing his murder. We're trying to solve his murder. But how do you do that? There are a lot of situations you can improve by throwing money at them. There's a $100,000 reward sitting in a Wells Fargo checking account. I'll write the check tomorrow. Just tell us who did this thing.
If you know anything, I would beg that you come forth. My dad talked about how he wanted to walk Holden to kindergarten. And that will never happen. He wasn't there to see my son start school. My son still cries. And my son doesn't know that Grandpa was murdered. He just knows that he's gone.
If you're watching this, I don't know how you could have taken our dad from us. I mean, he was so active for a 79-year-old man. He was so loved. He was so caring.
How dare you take him from us? How dare you? This is the man who sat for hours watching our children play sports and do musicals and graduate from middle schools and elementary schools and high schools and colleges. Our younger brother just had twins who will never know their grandfather.
Handsome
you
dude.
don't want to make everybody panicked, but there's somebody out there right now who did that, and they're probably still in Bozeman. And I don't know, is it the guy in front of you at the grocery store? I don't know.
This is now a cold case. It's been more than a year. In Bozeman, there's only been one other cold case, and that was the Pizza Hut murder of 1985. We need all.
Wow. In Bozeman, there's only one other cold case, 1985. Wow. That pissed me off.
All the help we can. I mean, this should not happen to anyone. No one should lose their father this way. No one has been brought to justice for this, and we just want anyone out there to help us.
His sense of humor and his love and of life, you know, he gave that to all of his kids. Like we laugh so much.
All right, guys, that'll close out the day. So sad. How does somebody hurt and kill a 79-year-old? Jesus. It is significant, though, that nothing was taken. They kicked in the door, though. But all right, guys. Enjoy your evening, and make sure you guys join me big live on Sunday night. Check out my community post if you're following Delphi. I got some good stuff out there, and I'll be dropping a bunch of stuff. But a good live on Sunday night. You guys are gonna like it. Again, thank you. Thumbs it up, share it. Idaho4, you know, if you know, you know, you know. Thank you, moderators. Peace out. Mama Steph, thank you so much. Woohoo! Moonville, gifted membership. Moonville, gifted membership. Layla, got me on my knees. Layla, $10 super sticker. Kim, not sure, cup of tea. What do we got? YouTube member. Woo woo. And then we say, Gail, thank you for always working your ass off. Woo. Thank you for always showing up. Peace out.